Humans desire to dominate parts of space as another world where we can live and colonize. Hence, the neighboring environment to Earth, where humans can reside to carry out deep research in space, is the Moon, because it doesn't have toxic substances that can instantly kill humans if inhaled, unlike Mercury. Therefore, scientists have chosen it as a base where they can land to carry out other important research about deep space. To make this possible, the most needed substance for scientific research, like oxygen, must be in abundance. It must be readily available for scientists to use for studies and breathing. The oxygen humans breathe here on Earth must not always be transported from Earth to the Moon when its reservoir is almost empty. Again, because the Moon does not have oxygen for humans to breathe, the flag Apollo astronauts planted on the Moon does not swing, since there's no air to blow it. So how did China discover that oxygen can be extracted on the Moon, and what shocking discovery did Elon Musk point out, which is crucial to produce electrical energy on the Moon through the power of nuclear reaction? Keep watching till the end to find out. The Moon is like a dry capsule without air or oxygen, which humans can breathe on. Hence, humans exposed to the Moon's atmosphere without an oxygen tank will die slowly. Also, the air is important for driving scientific pneumatic instruments, which will be used to conduct research. That is why top space companies have to do research about a liquid compound that has oxygen in its composition on Mars, and it's none other than water. Because water contains 11.11% hydrogen and 88.89% oxygen, oxygen is a chief element of water. Hence, if water is discovered, oxygen can be extracted from it. Scientists have long suspected that water may exist on the Moon, but the amount and location of this water have been the subject of great disagreement. In a 1967 study, lunar scientist Harold Urey lambasted his peers for believing that the Moon's river-like channels were generated by anything other than water, such as lava, dust gas, or even vodka. The confirmation of the discovery of water on the Moon came in 2008, when the Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft was sent into lunar orbit by the Indian Space Agency, ISRO, including the Moon Mineralogical Mapper, a NASA-provided scientific instrument. The Chang'e 5 lunar, on the other hand, landed on the Moon and extracted water from its surface. Soon after, an ascending vehicle launched from the mission's landing location in Oceanus Procellarum, or the Sea of Storms, and Chang'e 5 samples were returned to Earth later that month. In addition, scientists have recently announced that the lander's spectral scan of the surface and sample analysis in laboratories on Earth shows water in the region. However, the water recovered on the Moon is contaminated and must go through numerous cleaning procedures before scientists or even tourists may drink it. Research does not suggest large reservoirs on the lunar surface. Rather, the data indicate that the rocks and soil on the Moon's surface contain roughly 30 hydroxyl parts per million on average. Hydroxyl, which has one oxygen atom and one hydrogen atom, is the primary component of water. The water on the Moon was thought to be produced as a result of chemical processes triggered by the bombardment of charged particles from the Sun on the lunar surface. For gathering dirt and rock from a hitherto unexplored section of the Oceanus Procellarum Plain, China's Chang'e 5 mission, named after the mythical Chinese goddess of the Moon, returned 1,731 grams of samples in December 2020. The presence of water on the Moon may provide more information about the solar system's evolution, and may also point the way to in situ water supplies, which are essential for long-term human habitation. However, that was not the only startling discovery made during the Moon mission. The second discovery is why Elon Musk leaked the information as an advocate for clean energy. Scientists and researchers discovered traces of helium-3 among the roughly 140,000 lunar particles analyzed from the Chang'e 5 moon rock haul. Helium-3 is a modified version with a helium element that is not commonly found on Earth, but is thought to be abundant on the Moon. It has also been conceived as a potential fuel source that could aid in transforming the production and use of clean and efficient energy on Earth. As a result, Elon Musk exposed the information to the public. And for some years now, scientists have been shocked by the discovery of helium-3 and its potential as a fuel source for nuclear fusion. However, the European Space Agency believes that helium-3 is much more abundant on the Moon, where it has been deposited directly onto the lunar soil for billions of years by the solar wind, even though no viable reactors have been discovered to shoot it inside the Moon crust. Despite this, helium-3 has sparked a multi-spacefaring lunar resource race. Aside from the tech genius working towards clean and efficient energy, nations and private companies have expressed interest in mining helium-3 on the Moon, including the United States and China. Chang'e 5's discovery of a new helium-3 deposit on the Moon could push the global race to ransack the Moon's mineral resources forward. We also know that Elon Musk intends to relocate human civilization from Earth to dwell and prosper in other parts of the Moon. Research on the Moon by the Chinese space probe Chang'e 5 resulted in the discovery of water on the Moon's surface. Does this hint that humanity can live on the Moon? Scientists and experts have known the Moon to be practically bone dry, but with the assistance of the Chinese lunar lander, water was discovered on the Moon, and it is not just speculation. Scientists can confirm that water was detected on the lunar surface at this time. Chang'e 5 in all sent more than 60 ounces of soil and rock samples back to Earth from their trips to the Moon, where the rare minerals helium-3 were discovered. Water scarcity in space is one of the reasons why reaching that last frontier is a daunting task that necessitates extensive planning. However, thanks to this finding, that is going to change. To learn more about this occurrence, scientists conducted more research to determine whether the minuscule amount of water found on the Moon may be tapped for use by astronauts when they leave the planet for a long time. A measurement of how something reflects or takes in the sun's energy with these results collected from the data met. With these behaviors and observations, Siegler senior scientists for the Planetary Science Institute in Tucson, Arizona believe there may be more water on the Moon than originally assumed. We also know that Elon Musk intends to relocate human civilization from Earth to dwell and prosper in other parts of space. In terms of the Moon, additional research on the Moon by the Chinese space probe Chang'e 5 resulted in the discovery of water on the Moon's surface. Does this hint that humanity can live on the Moon? Scientists and experts have known the Moon to be practically bone dry, but with the assistance of the Chinese lunar lander, water was discovered on the Moon, and it doesn't just reside in theory, it's for real. Scientists on Earth, 239,000 miles away from the Moon, were aware that the space probe had most certainly discovered water on the Moon. However, water, as one of the cornerstones to human survival and a life-sustaining substance, is unlikely to be found in deep space. Water scarcity or unavailability in space is one of the reasons why reaching that last frontier is a daunting task that necessitates extensive planning. However, that is going to change thanks to this finding. To learn more about this occurrence, scientists conducted more research to determine whether the amount of water found on the Moon may be tapped for use by astronauts when they leave the planet for a long time. A measurement of how something reflects or takes in the sun's energy with these results collected from the data met. With these behaviors and observations, Siegler senior scientists for the Planetary Science Institute in Tucson, Arizona believe there may be more water on the Moon than originally assumed. Scientists now have a greater understanding of what lunar water is. When the Apollo astronauts returned to Earth in 1969, they thought the Moon was completely dry. But subsequent flights and journeys to the Moon were made, notably by Indian space research companies. Scientists believe solar wind generates water, the gases that flow off the sun. So when the solar wind, which contains hydrogen atoms, collides with the oxygen in the Moon's soil and rocks, it can produce water from the same spot. A moon rock was discovered with a higher water concentration in soil around it, showing that it had a water source other than the solar wind. China is not just creating history with space rovers, but also trying to establish settlements on the Moon has many hazards. With the radiation emitted by the sun or the moon's magnetic field, everyone would be vulnerable to radiation or being struck by things that would land on the moon. As a result, a collision will occur on the moon. Even if adequate water could be found, it would be difficult, if not impossible, to construct an infrastructure on the moon that will be used to refine the water to pure water, given what could happen to such surface dwellings due to impact of radiation to the infrastructure.